Welcome back to the C Morning Show, everyone. We're at the halfway point of our program, and the moment or the day that many Indonesian football fans have been waiting for is finally here. As Vietnam defeated Myanmar 3-0 in their last group round match to top Group B with 10 full points away from 3 wins and 1 draw. They will now play Indonesia over 2 legs in the semifinals, with the first leg to take place today, later on this afternoon at the Gelora Bung Karno Stadium in Jakarta. So let's talk about Indonesia's chances in this match and what strategies might be implemented. But of course, I'm no expert. We now have with us from Ruang Taktik, tactical analyst Muhammad Yusuf with us. Good morning, Master Farhan. Thank you again for joining us.
Yep.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year too.
It's been a happy one so far for Indonesian football.
Of course.
So this has been a great journey so far through the group stage, and now that we are in the semifinals. We talked right before we came on air, and you mentioned that Vietnam is possibly the strongest team right now in the tournament. Indonesia has a tough task now. In order to make the finals, we'll likely have to get through to Vietnam. And if they even get past Vietnam, we'll have to face Thailand. Before we get into that, what is expected out of today's match in the first leg?
Well, I think it is going to be a tough match. Obviously, playing against the strongest team probably the strongest team alongside Thailand. Maybe we could put us alongside them as well, hopefully, in the near future. But I would say those two are probably the strongest in the region. And yeah, I think it is going to be a tough game. Obviously, playing they have been playing against Japan and all those other strong teams in recent years, and we haven't been obviously going to that level in recent times. So yeah, I think it is going to be a tough game, obviously.
What strategies do you think will be implemented by Indonesia? Because we have been on the attack a lot in the group stages. Do you think there'll be a shift in strategy because we're facing such a vastly different opponent that we've seen in the group stages?
So yeah, I think that we have been playing against weaker teams than Vietnam. Maybe the most similar in level is Thailand, but we also played against 10-man Thailand for the most of the match. So we cannot really...
It's not an indicator.
Yeah, we cannot really read much into that. And even so, against Thailand, we were unimpressive, I think. Obviously, they went down to 10-man pretty early in the game, but we could not capitalize on that situation.
Right, it was only 1 goal difference, right, I believe?
Yeah, we drew actually against them.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a 1-1 draw. And yeah, I think against Vietnam, it will be, as I said before, it will be a tough game. They are excellent defensively. They haven't conceded in this AFF.
Yeah.
So yeah, they are pretty strong defensively, and it would be a tough task to break them down defensively. And yeah, they are actually also pretty strong offensively. So yeah, it is going to be a tough game.
Let's actually break that down a little bit more. You mentioned that Vietnam has not conceded a goal in the entire tournament. That's amazing statistic. However, there's another statistic that's just as shocking, which is Indonesia has had plenty of chances. Now we've heard this post-game as well, especially from Coach Shin Tae-yong, who we'll get to in a minute. But even in victories, there's always this kind of regret that we've missed a lot of chances. There was a lot of chances created or open opportunities that we did not capitalize. Even you mentioned it. Where are we when it comes to that? Because obviously the Indonesian team started the tournament with a lot of confidence. There are a lot of young players, but they, again, missed out on some chances. Is that just due to inexperience, and will that improve in these kind of knockout stages?
So yeah, I think the finishing has been largely disappointing so far. So you could say that Hansamu, horrible miss in front of the goal.
Yeah, open net.
Yeah, and Witan as well. He already went past the keeper, but he didn't manage to score the goal.
Right.
And yeah, I think that played a role in this group stages. So we lost on goal difference against Thailand, actually.
What was the goal difference between us and Thailand?
I think it was a 2-goal difference.
Right, so it wasn't that vast, and any of these opportunities could have put us on top of the group.
Yeah, of course. And if we were on top, then it would put us into a favorable draw against Malaysia, who I would say they are not as strong as Vietnam.
And which also means that either Vietnam and Thailand would have to face each other, and one of them will only advance to the finals,
that would play into our favor. But obviously, the past is the past. We cannot really review into the past. And yeah, I think that obviously the finishing has been pretty poor. Shin Tae-yong has said that as well in his press conferences. But on the positive note, I think we have been creating a lot of good chances, right? So we would not get into those goal-scoring positions in the first place if we had not created those chances initially. So yeah, I think that could be one that is the positive thing from Indonesia in this AFF. But obviously, if you create good chances, you still have to finish them. And yeah, it has been pretty disappointing to see that we are not clinical in front of the goal. But I hope that things will turn better in the semifinal stages.
Well, then now there's a lot more pressure in this situation where we're now going to see these young players. Are they going to be able to step up in the moments that really counts? Because obviously we still were able to advance, but now we're going to be knocked out if we don't are unable to win these two legs. So let me talk a little bit about something I mentioned earlier. The young players came into this tournament very confident, and if a lot of fans of Indonesian football may know, there used to be this stigma with the men's national team, especially in the AFF, where even if we had a lead into halftime, there would be friends of mine that would be like, well, just give it the second half, because sometimes we run out of steam, which generally did happen, arguably, in the past. However, the young players came into this tournament, and really the national players' team mindset these days are very confident. They're not scared of who they're facing. You can just tell by how aggressive they are on the field. Do you feel that that tide is shifting now because there's just a lot of fresh blood now on the team, a lot of new generational players that they don't have to carry the burden of the old national teams, either successes or failures, where they're just trying to carve out a new history for themselves? What are your take on this, and do you think this is a benefit to the national team going into it with a clear head and not being scared of anyone?
Yeah, I think that I feel that there is a different vibe, you could say,
me too.
on this team. They are a young squad as well, so you have the bulk of the squad being not on their prime actually. So you can say Asnawi Mangkualam or Pratama Arhan and the other players that they are still on the early 20s. So, yeah, they have not a lot of fear in them, so they would play aggressively against anyone. And obviously, as you mentioned before, that we had this inferiority complex, you could say, against stronger teams, but I don't feel that same thing in this group, in this squad. I think that they are more brave going into games, but also we have not so good record against Park Hang-seo's Vietnam. I think we have not had a win against them, and yeah, they would love to break that record. They would love to record a win against them eventually, and I think this is the stage. I think this is Park Hang-seo's last tournament with Vietnam, I think, and this is the perfect time to,
It's the only time remaining if they want to have a get back at Park Hang-seo. Again, I see it both sides. I totally agree with you. I feel like there's this energy on the squad. Like, let's not forget, the captain predicted that, hey, we're definitely going to get past the group stage and probably even win the tournament. Let's see if that holds true, because confidence can either work for you or against you, depending on the result.
Confidence.
Right. So let's talk about Park Hang-seo for a little bit. This is the third meeting between Coach Shin Tae-yong and Park Hang-seo. What is the history like between them so far, and how does that play into this particular meeting between the two?
Oh, I think that they were. I don't know if they were friends when.
Seems like it.
Seems like they were friends. I think I saw photos of them having photos together in the photo booth actually. So yeah, I think they were pretty close. But in last matches between Indonesia and Vietnam, things have been pretty spicy, you could say. So in the press conferences, you can there's this sort of thing in sports that we call side war. So yeah, they would, in basketball it is pretty common, but not in football, right?
Not as common, you're right.
Not as common. So they would have this trash talk between them in press conferences. I think Park Hang-seo has had a jab against Shin Tae-yong recently as well. I think that there were South Korean journalists that Park Hang-seo didn't, he didn't really quite trust them. Are they really journalists or are they, spies? So, things have been a little bit spicy between them recently. And I think that will play into the game.
Who does that benefit? Who would that benefit more?
I don't know actually.
Me too, because it just seems like they only allow you to have the information they want you to have. They're very kind of reserved and very careful about how they choose their words.
Of course, they can also lie in press conferences as well. So Shin Tae-yong has said that they will not park the bus, but I don't know if that's really true. That could be, some sort of trick in the press conferences. So yeah, it would be interesting to see how, these side war affects the game as a whole in the semifinals. Of course, we're now playing in Indonesia, so home advantage for us. So yeah, maybe this time around it will benefit us.
Okay, so we all hope so too, obviously. Now, in regards to the what this tournament means, I mean, getting to the semifinal stage we're no stranger to these kind of knockout stages at this particular tournament as well. But what would it mean for this particular iteration of the Indonesian or the Garuda squad if we're able to advance to the finals and have? I mean, when was the last time we met Thailand in the finals? Was it the last?
It was the last.
The last previous one. I mean, I don't want to look too far ahead, but what would that mean for Indonesian football for us to get back to that finals stage? Where does that put us as a nation? Because you said we're not far behind from the other two nations taking place here.
Yeah, of course. I think it would be really important, especially as we are nearing the Asian Cup. So it would be a really good motivation. So we would come into the Asian Cup as the defending AFF Cup winners.
Right.
Even though that probably would not hold any weight in the Asian region.
But it's something, right?
But it's something,
yes, correct.
Of course, that is going to be a motivation. We haven't won the Cup as well in our history. We have been pretty unlucky, so I think we are 6-time runners-up. So yeah, we would like to break that.
They have a saying for that, always a bridesmaid, never a bride, right? 6-time runners-up.
That is Indonesia.
Yeah.
In the
Southeast Asian football. So let's talk a little bit of a tactical, or I don't want to get too technical, but who are some of the key players to watch out for from each side for this afternoon?
Oh yeah, so I would say for Vietnam there are some players. So probably the most high-profile player is Quang Hai, who is now playing in France. He has been their starman for some years. He has a really excellent shot in him. So technically he is really strong, and out of possession defensively he is a hard worker as well. But I would also highlight Van Hao, who is their left wing back. So he would love to bomb up and down the flanks. Yeah, he is a pretty, he has a high motor in him, and he has a really quality cross in him. So yeah, obviously Vietnam.
They're going to be pushing the offense quite a bit.
They like to attack in numbers. So they would form this front five with Van Ho, who is the left wing back, and Tan Tai, who is their right wing back. So you would have these two bombing up and down the flanks, and that would cause problems against back four. So naturally you would have a front five against back four.
Right, one man's going to be open.
So yeah, one man's going to be open. So yeah, I think he is going to be someone to watch. And in the midfield as well, alongside Quang Hai, you have Hung Dung, who is their lone pivot. So he is the deepest midfielder. He is the heart of the Vietnam's midfield. He is a really excellent passer of the ball.
Basically someone who controls the tempo as well.
Yeah, Hung Dung is really good. And Van Kiet, who is their most advanced midfielder, I would say. So he would start off the left, but he would come inside as well into the middle of the pitch, so that would open up space for Van Ho. So yeah, I think these players are the players to watch. So their midfield and their wing backs, I think, are the most excellent areas in their squad. Okay,
so with that, can Indonesia capitalize and perhaps on some counters? Because with a front five like that, that's going to leave some opportunities for Indonesia to counter, no?
Well, yes. In theory.
I know. It always looks good in theory.
Yeah, so, but they still have a strong base with their back three as well. And they also have the lone pivot, maybe screening the center backs as well. So it would still be a pretty tough task against them.
What about Indonesia? What are a couple of key players that we are going to be relying on?
Of course, Indonesia. I think the best performing player in this AFF has been Mark Klok. Who has been really good at the base of the midfield, screening the back four as well. And he has been really intelligent with his positioning defensively, especially against Thailand. He caught my eye with his defensive work. But also, I think that in this match, Rahmat Irianto would play
Okay.
a key role.
Why is that?
I think because this Vietnam side likes to play more direct. They put a strong emphasis on winning second balls. So
Right.
they put a strong emphasis on winning these loose balls, you could say. And Rahmat Irianto defensive work rate would be key in this
Okay, he's a hard worker.
match. Yeah, he is a really hard worker defensively.
Okay.
He covers a lot of ground. And I think as well in the right-hand side, I think Shin Tae-yong would use Jakob Sayuri.
Okay.
So he is probably this hybrid winger and defender who is a willing defender, I would say. So he would form a back five often.
Okay.
And that is to counter those front five
Right.
from Vietnam. So we still have that back five with Jakob Sayuri still, contributing to the attack because he is a really hard worker out of possession. So he would still contribute offensively with his runs in behind. And yeah, I think those three will play a key role in this match.
I feel like Mark Klock is starting to become like the anchor of this team,
Yep.
almost like the heart of this team,
Yeah, of
literally,
course.
where he's able to kind of stabilize the pace and stabilize the tempo. I think it's going to get dirty, down and dirty. This one's going to be, there's going to be a lot of, I think whoever wants it more is going to win this particular tie. Whoever's going to want that 50-50 ball more, like you said, right? It all takes effort, and hopefully we see a good one from the Garuda squad today.
Hopefully.
Farhan, thank you so much for coming by. I'm sure we're going to have you again to cover the second leg. And hopefully the finals as well. It's been great to have you.
Hopefully the finals.
All right. Good luck to the Garuda squad this afternoon. It's time for us to take another short break. But when we return, we're going to recap some of our earlier stories from around the world when we return. Stay with us.